J Mack from Syracuse, New York, man. Came all the way out to see my Colorado Buffs.
What channel do you watch that brought you out here?
The Pregame Show.
Never watched the college game till last season when Coach Prime came to Colorado. And I am in Colorado at Folsom Field. I am the Colorado Buffaloes auntie from Texas. Sweet treat.
Hey, I've been following the Pregame Show. It's all about let's go Buffs.
Way from Texas, yes sir. Watch you every single day. Nobody lays it down like Uncle Neely and the Pregame Show.
Neely, Pregame Show behind the scenes of everything. And why does he get that kind of access? Why does he get that kind of access? Because trust is involved. You would never get the kind of access you desire unless there's trust and relationship. You're trying to put your up on game.
Yo, it's your man Phillip Dukes, aka Dukes Thee Scoop, and I'm here checking in with Thee Pregame Show Network. And this episode of the Pregame Breakdown is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. You ever needed tickets to an event that was sold out? Don't even worry about it. Just hit up Game Time, download the app, create your account, use the code BUFFS, capital letters BUFFS, and the network, the Pregame Show Network, which I am now a part of, is taking $20 off your first purchase. No hidden fees. You get to see. Game Time has you covered. Hey, hold up. Am I in the wrong place? I mean, I know I was just, and me and Bucky got, but oh, I know what happened. This is the Pregame Breakdown with Phillip Dukes, and I'm Phillip Dukes. That's why I'm here. Shout out to Uncle Neely. Listen, man, when I said Colorado took me in, I really meant Colorado took me in. Hey, what's going on? I'm your host, Phillip Dukes, aka Dukes Thee Scoop. Check me out on Twitter and Instagram at Dukes Thee Scoop. And the first episode of the Pregame Network, the Pregame Breakdown. What I want to talk about is Texas Tech. The next competitor for the Colorado Buffaloes will be the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And Texas Tech is a really interesting team. So I'm on the phone with Uncle Neely today. We chopping up what we're about to do next. We also have a show coming out in tandem for the both of us with us together. I'll also be appearing on Uncle Chico as well. And this is my contribution to the network. So what I wanted to talk about with Texas Tech was when you have a team that leads the conference in scoring, but is the worst in defense, what scares me more than anything is going to be how do you stop that offense? Texas Tech ain't no slouch either way. Joey McGuire's a heck of a coach. I think his relationship with Coach Prime has been widely publicized. So I think it's going to be a really fun matchup. Has some familiarity with Coach Prime. He has a brother who coaches wide receivers who's on the staff at Nebraska, so he'll be able to get some information on what they did that worked against Colorado. But I think some of the things that I watched, so we'll get the defense for Texas Tech out of the way first. I just don't think there's a way that Texas Tech can keep up with the Buffaloes defensively. What I mean by that is when you talk about all the weapons that Colorado has, and when they start to run the ball with Isaiah, they just look like a different ball club. So I think Shedeur continues his Heisman pace. I think Travis on offense continues his Heisman pace. The supporting staff, when you talk about the receivers and most importantly the offensive line, I think one important sack was Texas Tech is only averaging maybe 1.22 sacks a game, which is 15th or 16th in the Big 12, near the back of the pack. And conversely, what I want to get into a little bit later is Colorado is almost the inverse of that, averaging 2.75 sacks a game, almost 3, and they're number 2 in the Big 12. But I digress. Offensively, I just don't think that the Buffaloes will have trouble scoring with all the weapons that they have. But let's get into some key matches defensively, and I want to start up front. So I'm watching Texas Tech and their upset win over Iowa State, and I saw something really strange. I saw the whole line cut block at once, like synchronized swimming. They just, everybody dropped, boom. And when I saw that, what it let me know was that when you have a team and you have a quarterback that needs to stay upright to be successful, as all quarterbacks do, and you may not have the offensive line that can keep up with some of the dogs that you have in this conference. You do certain things, and that offensive line ain't bad by no means, because Baron Morton, who's having a heck of a season, has 19 touchdowns against 5 interceptions. He's only been sacked 13 times, I believe, at the most. If it's 15 at the most, but he has not taken as many sacks as Shedeur by far. It's at least 10 or 12 less. But we'll get back to that. What they do is when they cut block, it's not just for that play. You very rarely see people cut block on a pass play and the whole line do it. But what it does is it tries to get into the psyche of the defensive line to say, before you fire off on the ball in a clear passing situation, you got to take that false step to make sure that you're not getting cut. And I think that's something that Colorado has to pay attention to, is tell the guys, like, listen, man, you have to be a tenth of a second quicker. As soon as you see that shoulder drop, you got to Olay, get around there or go over. And I think that's going to be important, because they want to do that just to get into the psyche of the D-line, to let you know that, hey, we will do this. It's not something that they do consistently, but when they do it, it's a surprise, and usually the ball comes out pretty quickly. So outside of that, I think the defensive line will be fine. What Texas Tech likes to do, they have an amazing running back in Taj Brooks. Taj Brooks is averaging 130 yards a game. He's hit 100 yards in every game he's played this year. A bowling ball of a running back, 5'10", 230 pounds, has decent speed, decent to good speed. If he breaks, he's gone. And he's really tough. I mean, he kind of reminds me of what I could see Michael Welch being down the line, right? Just that bowling ball type frame, runs like a ball of knives. Nobody wants to tackle him. I think stopping him is the key to this game. And the reason being is it's a three-pronged attack. So they spread you out. So Texas Tech likes to spread you out. So they're going to have receivers on both sides, and then they're going to run the ball up the gut, or they're going to run the ball off tackle, 3-5, 4-6, either way. And they're going to challenge your linebackers and that safety to, if the safety is deep, then they're going to make him come up and make a tackle. So they're trying to get their linemen to the second level to take care of the linebackers. And since they have you spread out, they're going to leave you one-on-one in the safety. I think this is a very important game for Shiloh Sanders to have a really clean tackling game. And you know what? I think that lately you could just be on TikTok and people say, oh, Shiloh got juked, or, oh, Shiloh got hurdled. In a football sense, that hurdle against Cincinnati, the guy made an athletic play, but Shiloh made the tackle. That's the Shiloh I want to see. Shiloh ran to the ball in the open field. The best Shiloh is a low Shiloh. When Shiloh lowers his level, his pad level, when he gets low, when he makes tackles, dog, he's such a great form tackler. And when he doesn't allow his feet to go dead and not just rely on the impact that he brings because he's such a heavy hitter, when you have an enforcer in the secondary, you could tend to build that tendency to just say, okay, I'm just going to go smack somebody. What I saw of Shiloh, which I thought was amazing, was the fact that he's bringing his arms to tackle, form tackling after having a broken arm not even 2 months ago. So when I saw that play, you could literally see Shiloh get low, break down, and then when he goes to attack, right, he brings his arms. So the guy, his arm, and that's the reason that the guy wasn't able to fully hurdle him. So I'm like, yeah, so a lot of people like, oh yeah, Shiloh got hurdled. Man, I ain't studying that. I saw there. That's not an average football play, and for people that have played sports before, you know, especially if you played on any type of island, open field tackling is probably one of the hardest things to do in football when everybody is a plus athlete. You mean to tell me you know where you're going, but I don't, and I got to get you on the ground from 10, 15 yards down the field after I got finished with my first responsibility. Now I got to come tackle this plus athlete. So it's not an easy thing to do. If it was, everybody would do it. But even past that, when he, and I say this because I've seen him do it so many times, as an enforcer or anybody that's played ball, as an enforcer, there are going to be times that you're going to be on that island and I'm going to get you, and sometimes you're going to get me. But what makes a good one is I'm going to get you more times than you get me. You got to, and you have to forget any play like that. And so the fact that Shiloh was able to finish the game the way he did, the way that he's continued to come back from injury, the way that he's bringing his arms when he's tackling, when he's form tackling, bro, and on some real stuff. Like even when he broke his arm against Nebraska, man, he broke down, got low. He didn't just bring his shoulders. That's the Shiloh you need this game against Taj Brooks. The Shiloh that's when he creates fumbles, he's low and he's getting his head or his shoulder on the ball. So he's running through people. And I think that's the Shiloh that we'll see this week, and the Shiloh that you need against this Texas Tech running attack that is the basis and the catalyst for their passing attack to get loose. Now, so yeah, I'm betting on Shiloh. If we're doing prize picks, man, I'm betting on Shiloh to have 8+ tackles easily. And I think he's gonna get one. And if I had to take the 0.5 on a turnover, whether it be a forced fumble or interception, you can give me Shiloh for one of them this weekend. All right, cool. Now, what's the flip side of that? All right, so Texas Tech starts running the ball, and what they do is we're gonna slide the safety up a little bit. Okay, cool. So now you're on the perimeter. You got one-on-one matchups, which Colorado plays man-to-man better than anybody in the conference, in my opinion. But there's two key matchups that I want to talk about. One being Coy Aiken. Now, Coy Aiken isn't a burner. He isn't the biggest. He isn't a burner, but he's fast. He isn't a behemoth of a wide receiver, but he's big. Goes 6'2", 210. And regardless of color, he looks like, if he was black, I'd say he kind of reminds me of Jordy Nelson. But that's what he reminds you of, dog, like a Jordy Nelson type. And, man, they love to rock people to sleep and go up top to him. If you watch it, he's got 6 touchdowns this year. And I think that his matchup, I don't know who Colorado goes with, because they could go with Travis Hunter. They could go with DJ McKinney. But either way, I think this is a very key matchup, right, for this coming weekend, because if you can stop him, the leading receiver, what's my man name, transferred from Washington State. He was one of Cam Ward. He had 68 tackles with Cam Ward. Dang, what's his name? Let me look his name up right quick. What's my man's name? Josh Kelly. Josh Kelly, Texas Tech. He's averaging about 10 yards a catch, but they throw it to him a ton. So I could easily see them putting, they like to move him around. I could easily see them putting Travis Hunter on him. But I think that the matchup between Coy Aiken and DJ McKinney is going to be real important, because McKinney has the size to deal with him. I think that, and two, Colorado wins a lot of those 50-50 balls that people like to throw up. See, people will try you. They'll say, oh, okay, go get it. People can know that you're in a cover 3, and they'll still want to throw it over your head because we just don't feel like you can keep up with them. But Colorado is like, we dare you. And I think those are the matchups on the perimeter that are going to be important. So you can give them theirs. I think it's going to be Josh Kelly in the more intermediate, which we know that Travis Hunter is the guy who makes you pay. Throw a hitch around him, he's going to run a route for you. Throw a dig, he's going to run the route for you. And he's going to make a spectacular catch, like the ball was intended for him and it was a bad ball. That's how he treats it. And I think on the other side, this is going to be one where you see, because even though Josh Kelly is a sophomore, he's a guy who has, I believe, has a lot of NFL potential. There's going to be some scouts in the stands trying to check him out. So I think this is important, and it's the same thing for DJ McKinney. So I think this is going to be a game where McKinney can kind of solidify that, like, bro, McKinney Island. So yeah, those are some of the defensive keys that I saw for this game coming up. If you have any keys or you have any offensive keys, anything that you want to talk about, let me know. Let Uncle Neely know. We'll get it to you. Man, that was my first one. I know it ain't everything that I want to do, that I wanted to do, but I wanted to get my feet wet on the pregame network. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to just kind of feel it out a little bit. So, man, I think going forward, man, we're going to have a lot of fun, especially when it comes to recruiting season. I got some tricks up my sleeve. So, absolutely, man. And one more time for the Game Time app. Make sure, this your boy Dukes the Scoop. Make sure that you represent the Pregame Show Network by going to support the Game Time app using the code BUFFS, BUFFS. Oh, let me say that again. BUFFS. I want to make sure y'all know what I was saying. But use that code and get your $20 off when you come check out the Buffaloes in a week or two, all right? All right, man, I'm signing out. Dukes the Scoop at Twitter and Instagram at Dukes the Scoop. Uncle Neely, love, fool.
Where y'all from?
We up from Miami, Florida.
All the way from Miami.
All the way from Miami.
Appreciate y'all coming, man.
Hey, man, we love what you guys are doing, man. We want to support you in every way.
Appreciate your family.
And we're recruiting at home. Everything we see at home, we bring it this way.
My man.
You gotta believe. Dude, we've been believing since day one,
That's why I
dog.
gave them to
Remember
you.
back in Jackson State? We've been believing with you in the pregame show.